Hey Dramatics, welcome back to my channel and to my first afterthought video. So the reason why I kind of overflowed here, because like in my previous video on Night of Love With You review, this little drama packed quite a bit of a punch. There was just so much in the way of spoilers I wanted to discuss here on this video. So if you haven't seen the initial review video, please click away and watch that. And if you still want to watch the drama without being spoiled too much, please go ahead and watch the drama and come back to this video, because I'm going to spoil pretty much like the parts that I love and the ending. So please beware. First off, I'd be remiss not to realize the Easter egg they give to the audience up front. Like, when the little director from the Comic Book Center hands Chi-Chi the story of Night of Love With You, you see that the image of the couple on the cover is Lu Qing and Long Ye-han. So it makes me wonder if the glitch was meant to happen. I mean, the reason why I'm like, were they always meant to be involved? Is that the reason why? Or this also could have just been Tencent's like little wink to the audience to let us know that the true story that we're watching is involving those two. So maybe that's the reason why. But it just makes me wonder, I'm like, but why are they on the cover? And speaking of Lu Qing, I do have to mention her tendencies to be mischievous, like her old villainous self. A lot of her past experiences serve her, as she is assertive and calculating, but knowledgeable, especially when it comes to how the female lead is supposed to act, versus like this puerile version that the comic book wants the original Lu Qing to be. It's quite refreshing when she's forced to say these things or act these things out, that on the other hand, she's like, this is not how I want to be. I don't want to give this money back. I want to tell you how I feel about you, you know, and slap you and react in a way instead of just being all like, oh, stop. Oh, that's not true. Oh, you know, being very pushover-ish. And she's not that way, which I greatly appreciate that other flip to her. But I do have to comment that she is something else when it comes to her twin brother. So, sure, I'm still mad about the whole thing about him not working as hard as she does. And I'll stand corrected, he does have a job. I'm sure he just has like a small little part-time job in comparison to the 3 that she has to work. Anyway, but this dude happens to get kidnapped at the orders of Song Ruyan. So, does Lu Qing take the bait? Oh, heck no, she does not. So she leaves her brother abducted for days and either ignoring or hanging up on the kidnappers. She is not for that life, because she knows what they're trying to lure her in there for. And so she's like, no, I'm not gonna go there all to get trapped up and killed. No, I'm not doing that. So also, she's a little mean to him too. She had mentioned, like, when he was bound, she's like, you're my brother, but how are you so ugly? That's essentially what she said. I'm like, she's a savage. And also, she had walked away after that, leaving him tied up after Long Ye-han had kidnapped him. But I get why she had done all of this, because at all of these crucial points, she knows that her brother is practically a plot device in one scene or another. And with that, when the story starts going along at full pace, the scene will shift right after that, so he'll be fine. He'll be going on to his next place where he needs to be. So she doesn't have to worry about him too much. Another thing here, as I had mentioned in my spoilerish review, I love the whole mechanics of the comic book world here, even if I still had issues with it not fully being explained or laid out in the way I wished it would have been. And there's certain rules that the characters have to follow regarding any of the scenes that they're in. And so, like, from here on out, I'll pretty much explain like a lot of the plots and stuff like that that either like or involves a lot of these mechanics. So, case in point though, when Moon Chen is knocked out by Lu Qing pushing him off when she first enters the story, he's in a coma for a while. So I figured that, you know, Moon Chen is the control or the driving force of the story. With him being out of commission, the story goes dormant, which also lets our 2 leads in our drama to start being involved with each other. One other aspect of them getting closer is that throughout the series, Long Ye-han is the only one who kisses Lu Qing, which I noticed, which makes the relationship all the more singular, and he finds her no matter where she is to do it. So Anytime that Lu Qing has her heart palpitations like she did in the first episode, Long Ye-han is the only one to kiss her. Moon Na-chin, who Lu Qing was supposed to fall in love with originally, in this drama he never kisses her ever. One sad scene that I do want to talk about, and that happened in episode 8. So the crazy bee, Song Rui-yeon, had drugged Long Ye-han with some wine, and he pounces on Lu Qing, who's able to talk him out of it. And first and foremost, y'all, just like as a hint in any drama in the history of the world, never take wine from someone who is calculating. Number one. Number two, never take it from someone dressed in black and wearing black gloves. I mean, how much of a scene do you need? Especially since you already know that this woman's gunning for Lu Qing. Like, you know better. So Song Rui-yeon had set out some paparazzi to go to the hotel room where the two of them are to get caught. So in this juncture of the story, Lu Qing already knows that if Long Ye-han happens to be ruined at this minute, she is dead either way. The only way that she knows is that Long Ye-han has to end her. She had already kind of confessed to him in a little trickle of a way that with certain mechanics of the story, that the story will reset, especially with her death. So she asked him, he has to do this for everything to start over again. And he asked her with teary eyes, "Will I remember you?" And Lu Qing reassures him that if he has an imagination, he should be able to. And I'm like, the teary version of Long Ye-han just got me. It got me a bit. I wasn't crying and stuff, but I definitely felt, sorry for that. Because, you can tell he doesn't want to do it. Even at this juncture, he does not want to hurt her at all. And he's already started to develop feelings for her. So, even before he can even take action, or for her to goad him into taking action, a shot cuts to Moon Na-chin's eyes opening. And so, the story instantly fast forwards 3 months. And Lu Qing and Long Ye-han are separated. Just magically. And he's even, scratching his head of just, what just happened? And of course his assistants explain well, she went home after the hotel room and stuff, and you've been separated for these past 3 months. We haven't seen her since then. So with that being said, even though Lu Qing is the only one who's self-aware, the further the story goes along, a lot of the other characters also become privy that nothing is as it seems in this world. Long Ye-han is implicated in plots and threats against Lu Qing, saying and doing things he doesn't want to do but has to because the plot is compelling him to. His whole story arc involves him being the villain and wanting to take revenge against his half-brother, Moon Na-chin. The worst payback he was written to do was to off the person his brother loves, which is Lu Qing. However, it's Long Ye-han who ends up falling for Lu Qing first, hence creating detrimental complications. Because of this, the whole story starts to fall off the rails. At the climax of the comic book story, it's supposed to result in Lu Qing's death at her wedding after he stabbies her. And after that, the story will restart all over again. So just as that was about to happen, the comic book center little kid steps in when Long Ye-han is about to lunge at her. And he tells her, the little kid tells her that if she dies here, Chi-Chi will disappear forever, not just from this comic book world, but across the board, she will not exist anymore. Song Rui-yeon also had heard this. And of course, she's already on the warpath because she already feels that in true crazy bee fashion, that this woman's trying to take my man from me. How dare she? But now, hearing that with this glitch, she was supposed to be Lu Qing and not Chi-Chi, she completely loses her crap. And so now her craziness just escalates to a whole new level where she marks Moon Na-chin's mother, trying to get Lu Qing pretty much blamed for this crime when she didn't do it. So it turned into a whole murder mystery. It's kind of funny how this drama kind of touches every little piece of genres in Drama Land. I thought that was kind of interesting too. even though like the comic book has been glitchy from the start, Lu Ching has been trying to, I guess, push the story along because she knows she has to in order to get out, but she technically did not follow the story to the T. She developed feelings for the wrong lead, which was something she was never destined to do. The original Lu Ching, even with the plot done right, was never destined to have a happily ever after to begin with. But with her falling in love with Long Ye-han, it really goes awry since none of them are following the story arcs their characters were written for. Long Ye-han's whole story plot is based off of revenge, so when he gives up his story arc for love, it literally goes against his character. Because of this, it pulls a Back to the Future where his character and any characters connected to him, like his assistant, start to fade from existence to where no one remembers them. And this one I thought was like an interesting, like, I guess, power move for Lu Ching. With her being the female lead, it was more like I could produce this need and keeping him by my side. So even though he was starting to fade from comic and from people's minds, she realized at that time that she loved him, and so she didn't want him to fade from her mind. She didn't want to forget him, and so she kind of like willed him back into existence. And I'm like, how is that even possible, even with her being the female lead, because of all the stuff that goes on after this? So I don't know, maybe someone else can explain on the reason why, but I just thought that was a, yes, it's like an interesting mechanic, but how and why, I don't think that would even be possible without, you know, because by that time, like, he's not really crucial to the story except for at the end when her death is supposed to be imminent. The reason why I had mentioned this is because she can't keep any of this at bay for long, and especially since Long Ye-han has also started to notice stuff that has gone awry. Because number one, he already overheard the conversation that Song Ryong had with Lu Ching, is essentially that neither of them can exist for loving each other. So because of this and him being in existence with her and in love with her, he knows that she started to fade when he was putting on pearls. Her hands started to fade, and also her brother disappears. And so he knows because of that, it was only a matter of time before she's blinked out of existence, and he didn't want that for her. So Long Ye-han decided to sacrifice himself, so he ends up being cold and signing over all of his assets and stuff to his brother, and is leaving town, quote unquote, when he knows he's just going off to practically fade in the distance. But with that, with her being with the person she's supposed to be with in the comic book, hopefully with that will right all the wrongs, and that she will be fine and she won't disappear. But he's okay if he does. And I'm just like, oh, you can tell that is just love. Now, he does not want to hurt her in any way. But of course, like, Lu Ching was smart enough to put out all of that stuff together on what he was doing, and so she asked Moon Na-chin to help her out in shifting the scene forward, which is back to the wedding day, when there's just like him and her and Long Ye-han, who was about to disappear, but then the scene shifted and he's at the altar with knife in hand. And so with that, he sees what is happening, and he's begging the both of them for Lu Ching to not come to him, do not come near him. And he's begging because all I want you to do is live. That's all he wanted to. That's why he was willing to die or fade away from existence, to make sure she was safe, because he loved her that much. Of course, like, she knows she has to do this because she doesn't want him to die. She doesn't want him to sacrifice anything for her, especially since, like, in order for the story to reset itself and for things to go back correctly the way it has to be, the story has to end with her imminent death at the wedding. Long Ye-han is already resisting against the scene with all of this, and it's starting to glitch out, like the Take On Me glitch out, and it's literally killing him to resist. He's up there spitting up blood and struggling. He's trying to stop himself from inching closer to her. And she's marching up the aisle, and she's saying even if she's supposed to disappear from this world, she's thankful that she was able to know at least what love is, because, you know, them both being side characters, and a lot of times also with villains don't technically love. They have like a possessive concept of love, but it's not really like authentic and true in some cases. So they really got the opportunity to love each other, and it's just unfortunate that they can't be together, that they can't survive at the same time. And I have to say, like, this scene killed me. It killed me seeing the struggle on him, not wanting to do it, him shaking his head about, like, please don't make me do this, because he doesn't want to kill her. Of course, why would he want to? Because he loves her so much. He was willing to die for her already. As she's bearing closer to the knife, and she tells him that she loves him, and she steps closer to the knife, he managed to flip the knife, like, within his fingers for it to stab him as she came closer. That hurt my soul. It hurt it so much. Because, like, it was with his last bit of resistance that he was able to save the woman that he loved. And with his ending comes the ending of the comic book. And finally, the comic book series decides to step forward and just like, oh, we're going to reset the story. I'm like, why did you do this in the first place? Probably because the mechanics had to where they could not really intervene. But I'm like, you intervened in the first wedding when you told her that she was liable to die if she continued on with this plot. Why didn't you stop it way before then? I don't know. And that's why I'm just like, I wish that they would have said anything, or there would have been like a thunderous voice up ahead when she's asking, and just like, we cannot intervene at this crucial point. We have to let the story go on as is. So that's a lot of the mechanics I wish was explained, because a lot of the rules do change on what's viable and what's not, what makes sense, what doesn't. So I don't know. It restarts correctly now that Chi-Chi is now Song-Ryeon, which is the part she was supposed to have in the first place. But instead of like getting down to getting involved with the plot, she immediately remembers she has to go and see Long Ye-han. So she runs to his hotel room and she finds him and kisses him. And he kind of looks at her after she was done, has like this curious look, like kind of weighing her a little bit. And with that, she realizes that sadly he doesn't remember her at all, and she was hoping that he would. So she backs away and he grabs her wrist and brings her back down on the couch with him and practically tells her something along the lines of, you wouldn't give up that easily. That's not what a cunning character like you would do. Because he always told her throughout the story that she was calculating and cunning. He always said that was his compliment to her of sorts. And then he just proceeds to kiss her, and they're reunited, and oh my god, the feelings. She asked him should we go and break up the couple, and he's just like, why should I worry about them? Because I'm like, now he has her, and there's no stipulation for them to not be together in this book, and I'm not sure how long that will be until the plot compels them to go forward and stuff, but at least we will know, like, habitually in this book they will be together in some capacity and have different experiences, which goes back to my original ideas or concepts on the other review that I had. With that being said, would it be possible for there to be a sequel to where they go to another story? And I'm not sure if she will graduate to be a main lead or not. Or maybe it might be another thing where he's playing a second male lead and she's playing the main lead, and she chooses him again just out of habit. But I'm like, that would be an interesting concept if they ever decide to do like a part 2 to this. But I don't know if that would be in their wheelhouse too. But I'm sorry for rambling, y'all, but like, I really love this little drama. This is one of those dramas that I can probably like rewatch again whenever I feel like it. It was very well written for the overall most part, because I think it was like a really nice snapshot and criticisms about what we see in dramas, and probably what a lot of us have written, and of course like what Tencent has produced and the other producers like it. But yeah, let me know down below if you watched this drama due to my recommendation, what you thought about it, what are the things you liked about it. Please tell me about everything. I really like to have a good discussion with you guys in the comment section, especially about things that I still don't understand or just common speculation. But let me know what you thought about it, because I'll let you know about mine, and hey, it's just a thought.